Hello and welcome to the show. Today, the Staffing Industry Discussion video podcast, I have a special guest, David Wilson. He is the president of Results Staff and Social Media, and he is a big believer in staffing done differently. We're going to hear about the future of staffing from the eyes of David Wilson, and we'll be right back. Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Klinsky. I'm the host of the show, and I am really excited about our guest today. I met David Wilson a few months back, and we've had some great conversations. He's somebody that has that true eye of the tiger when it comes to making a difference, not only in his community, but his industry. He's taken his knowledge in staffing and recruiting and is trying to do something different with his new business, Results Staffing. And one of the things that I like about him is once we get jamming, we just start rolling and rolling. So who knows where this conversation is going to go, but I know that we're going to learn a lot of key things about what's going on in his part of the world, what he's seeing on the front lines, and really the innovation that comes with hard work and kind of seeing around the corner. I believe David is one of those guys that sees around the corner very well. So without further ado, let's bring on David Wilson. There you go, David. There you go.
Hey, how you doing, Matt? How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today.
No, I enjoy things like this because staffing, and when you asked me to come on, I mean, between doing the shows, it's nice to finally be able to say what I do and share the ideas,
Yeah, you've been super active on social media with LinkedIn Live and, all these videos that you're doing. So it's amazing to see your progress.
No, it is. And Matt, like I told you, about myself, is I have been about a year and a half ago to 2 years, I focused on social media. I got an obsession with it of trying to recruit. And then before going to Barnes and Nobles every Sunday with my son and reading the books of dummies and everything and copying and then taking it to my former company. And, I saw how to show results by utilizing the social media. It just obsessed with me. And then I thought about how to utilize it when I had left all virtual, to where we don't have to see the candidate besides using all the tools. I don't have to have them walk in the office. I can do a video screening. I don't have to have them do the onboarding. I can use a back EOR like yourself, to do everything for us. I don't do nothing. You're behind me. Here's my team right here. I always say, here's my team. Who? Well, I do have a team. They handle the invoicing. They handle, the aging reports, the payroll, the onboarding.
So let's take a step back and let's just talk about kind of where you're at today in terms of what's the business name? How did you come up with it? And tell us a little bit about what niches you're working on and what industries you like to serve.
Well, the reason it's called Results, it was pretty funny. I had talked to my employer about, could I start Results Social Media Consulting? And they said, oh, sure, go ahead. So I was really into Facebook, and I had an HVAC company, my best friend. He said, I don't know about the other owner if he's going to go for social media. So we walked in, he bought me lunch, and he put it up on the screen, and he showed me his social media page. And I said, what do you pay for this? And he's like, $1,200 a month. I was like, whoa, are you getting, in other words? And he looks at me. I could not believe it. So then he looks at me and goes, Dave, I don't care to know about this. all I want at the end of the day is results.
His results. Yeah.
So right after that, a week later, because I was trying to think of a name for the company for the staffing, it was just results. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want, that's what I want, and the client wants. And with everything virtual, the savings behind that we could save the client, and to me, it's about not undercutting another agency. It's providing a better service, easier, and less cost effective for both. And it's a win-win that I look at it for.
Right. And really, it's a result that you want to find the best candidate for the best customer. And the result is ultimately long-term employment. Yes. I don't think anybody really gets into recruiting or staffing with the hopes of somebody leaving in 2 weeks. It's got to be the idea, and those type of people exist, but they don't last. Right. They exist, but they don't last more than a couple of years in the industry. In order to really survive and thrive in recruiting and staffing, you have to have the idea that you're helping your candidate as much or more as you're helping the customer. But more importantly, you have to match them correctly. And I think one of the things that social media helps in what you've been doing is really just making the positions more aware, the candidates more aware, and being able to be visualized easier in a time where, maybe they're not going in door to door to just, interview at every staffing firm around.
No, and you don't have to. I watch some of the companies here, and I'm sorry, I just beat my head, and I'm like, come on, what have we learned from COVID? I am more successful now, I think, because I had that vision prior to COVID. I wish that we wouldn't have had COVID happening, but I've learned to take some of the software, something that you offer, and then I do a twist, and I can utilize it for something else. I try to think of ahead, like the video screening. I do my sales with that. Right. That's how I do my sales. I don't have to walk out this door to do sales. I can do my 45-second right to you utilizing the video resume service, email it to you and about my services and hit you every 2 weeks with it.
Right.
They're blown away. They're like, what is this?
And that's where I'm talking about, like, seeing around the corner. Like, where is staffing and recruiting? Where is sales? Where's the industry going? I think you've been kind of eyeing that for a while, it seems like. And it takes a while to make a change in consumer behavior, in customer behavior, and in candidate behavior, in the midst of everything being, on this kind of spiral roller coaster we're going through. You've been able to kind of continue your vision, and it's starting to pay off, it sounds like.
It is, because, like, for example, I had an intern today, Matt, and I pulled out an atlas, 2020 atlas. She's like, what is that? I was like, this is an atlas. So I have a protractor. And she's like, what is that? So between the maps on the wall, and when you give me a candidate that you're looking for in this area, I still stretch it out 25 miles. Then I go onto the social media and I Google every single thing about a person that I can think of that fits that. And then off of my phone, I've been running these ads, and I adjust them every 2 days.
Right.
And sure enough, I'll get a candidate that matches.
Do you think that the social media has been having a better impact on the candidate search or on the customer acquisition in your experience?
Right now, I wish the customer would take it on more, because, for example, if they don't want their name out there, they don't want, to say their company, that's a downfall that I'm still trying to educate the customer, saying, please, let me say your name, versus the candidates, because the candidates want to hear where they're getting hired.
Right.
In the high volume industry.
Right.
And it's easier to say, I always use Coca-Cola and Pepsi as an example. Wouldn't you like to know that you're working at Pepsi or Coca-Cola, besides saying, hey, we have a job, $17 an hour, come here,
Right.
Those days are gone. It's gone. I mean, I'm sorry. I want to promote the company, not the hourly rate, not the salary. Because what do you offer versus $15 an hour, 25, but what do you offer?
Right.
So I'm trying to sell the client.
Yeah, I think the clients and customers are still on a 2019 model, which was 2% unemployment rate. They're the only way to get real people to to apply is to show a higher pay rate at that time. We're talking December 2019, January 2020, 2% unemployment. You have a different strategy than December 2020 with an 8%, 9% unemployment rate. I think that the strategies change so quickly that smaller staffing and recruitment firms are able to pivot a little bit easier. They're able to tweak their presentation. And I think the bigger firms will transition, but I think also the customers will just take a little bit of time to kind of modify. And, I think they will get there because they have to get there. I think it's really about approaching it as a consultant to the customer and really, I want to love to hear your opinion on this. When it comes to human capital management, I believe that recruiters and recruitment companies have such an important role in the human capital management from small customers to large customers, and we're not utilizing and we're not leveraging that role. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, as coming to a client, I try to utilize all the skills that I always say behind me versus the savings of an EOR company. You're not I'm utilizing that. I'm utilizing for the candidates, trying to fit them. How do I say it? I like it to try to make that perfect fit. It's worth the time for the clients to educate them because I can save them revenue because I know the candidates. I should say it like that. I know them, that they would be a fit for that company.
Right.
So if I can put off consulting, if I can teach them, if I get them when I go into a sales, and this is what I have to do, Matt, if I take that laptop and I put that on that table in those days of standing up doing the sales and watching everybody just look at you, and I get them in front of this laptop, I got them. I see it in their face, their eyes, they gulp. They're like, what is this? They're looking at that, and then I'm like, I got them. But it's
what are you showing them on the laptop?
What I'm showing them on social media is behind the scenes, like how I go after candidates. I don't just post a job. I post jobs on my board, but then I post jobs and videos that you don't see, that nobody sees, that only one I want to see. I target specifically. If I want high volume, I go after the bigger companies, the people that are working. My video, 45 seconds, I got it down to a T where I'll send that right into Amazon, Walmart, and I'll pull them out of there on a weekend, and I'll get them to go where I'm at because I'll send the video and get my message to them, not just that job posting. Hey, it's Dave, they get to know you and trust you. So if I need 10 forklift drivers, I'm going to take them from the company down the street. I like to win. And by utilizing those skills, it doesn't cost me much. It doesn't cost me, besides 4 or 5 years of no sleep and 7 days a week, but it saves the client because the turnover, I know where to look for the candidates. I do a lot of research behind it. And then I also do a supply and demand report to the client, show them what you're looking at, what you have. You have this many jobs, but only this many people to choose from.
Right.
And I've been saying a scale. This is what you want, but this is where you're at.
Do you think that if you approach the customer, it sounds like you approach it as, hey, I want to help with all of your human capital management needs. Do you think that there's room, or do you think that there's potential room in the near future to help guide them to say, these group of workers you should bring on permanent, these ones you should bring on temp to perm, these ones you should bring on as contract only, and kind of help them manage not only their cash flow, but their people flow as well?
Yes. And because, like I told you before, with the referral fee, you as a recruiter, what I've learned on social media is we didn't have social media back years ago. So you can see what kind of candidate they are by, I look at their social media pages. I'm sorry. When I look at a candidate, a lot of people, I tell them, be careful what you're posting and all that, because employers are looking at it. So I kind of know on my candidates where they would be, whether if it's looking at the resume and if somebody has 6, 7 jobs, if somebody has longevity that I know I could transfer their skills into a different skill set that they're having a hard time to fill. I can tell by somebody when you're talking to them, they just want something temporary. There's all different ways that I just try to feel that candidate out and sell that to the customer, saying, listen, this person here would probably be better for temporary because he's worked for temporary service for 3 years.
Right.
And I have to sell that candidate to the client with the knowledge that I know from each candidate, if that makes sense.
Do you think that there's been a positive impact when it comes to your ability to communicate these ideas because they might have had to let go of several recruiters in-house? They've had to restructure their HR departments. Like, has that played a role into your ability to kind of get through that process to reach the customers you're trying to reach?
Yeah, it's the red tape. It's like, listen, I don't have to do that. When everybody tells me no in a company, they can do it. Yes, they can. They can change. I always say blame it on COVID, because when you tell me you can't do a weekly invoice, you can. Or they don't want to bring on another staffing company because, well, invoicing, time clocks. No, you can. You can video resume screening. We can do all the virtual, everything. No, you can. It only fits the client and even myself when it benefits yourself.
Right.
So I try to sell it as like, listen, you have to try this. The new norm, and recruiters and, with families, with kids, make it certain recruiting times, work around the schedules. Everything can work. But I believe the bigger companies have a little bit of an issue, which I don't know why. They need to change now. They need to get on this bus, because if they don't, they're going to be so far behind.
Where do you see the biggest gaps so talk about your niche a little bit and how you've been able to kind of focus in on which industries you wanted to over the past 6 months, 12 months. Like, where have you been spending your time and attention?
Well, I tried out first to doing the professional services I first came from high volume. So I had to have a quick change to go into professional services. Learned a lot, didn't realize the amount of time it takes to find someone.
Yep.
And then you work hard on somebody for 3 weeks and then you lose them and then you cry almost, you get that feeling. And now I've learned until it's signed, I don't do,
until they show up and work for 60 days. It's not.
Yeah, I don't do that. But, it's now I went through trying to offer the clients to staff myself, temporary to perm. But I couldn't compete with companies down the street. A corporation that has 3 recruiters. Even though I'm myself, I consider myself 2.
Okay.
Because social media and my team, like if I had yourself for EOR, think about it. I have a whole office.
Right.
And I hold you accountable. I hold social media. I just got done with 5-6 emails calling every name in the book because they changed my name from Results to David Wilson, and it's Results Staff, because they said it's deceiving, the name Results. So they took it away from me.
Oh, wow.
On social media. So there's ways around it. You can just do it. But so now I had talked with you. We had talked a little bit, and I asked you about when we were talking about utilizing your service and about referral fee base. So for job companies, job boards are expensive. Listen, Career Builder it's expensive for me. So I offer a referral fee base now. So for forklift drivers, it's $150. And you got people saying like, what? What do you mean direct hire for that? Everybody was saying you're crazy. What does that do? I didn't realize the ROI on Indeed is like $60, $70 per person for light industrial.
Sure.
So knowing that, and by vetting the employee, we call them, we look at their resumes. We're not going to send somebody just to fill the body, because that's customer. I cannot do that. I'm not going to do it just to show you I can bring in 10 candidates. They're going to be good. I want quality versus volume. Mm-hmm. That's what I've learned. So now with this doing a referral fee, that's working right now. I've told you I'm excited with 6 companies we're filling. For a referral fee,
that's
$150 and $75. I mean, for cash flow, and then hoping to learn and still pick up those direct hire fees at a lower cost, but not to say that I'm cheaper because of that. It's because of all the tools behind me. Right. I don't have an office fee. I don't have to pay, everything that a company does. So one person can do the work of 2.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to financial risk and really kind of operational risk. If all of a sudden your operation, your staffing, everything went down to zero, you don't have to lay anybody off.
And that's the thing. I just kick myself in the, I'm the one I kick when I make a mistake now, because I've learned, I have learned, I wish I would have paid more attention to 15 years in the corporate world. I didn't realize there's so much work. I mean, it's just everything. You're like, today you're sales, tomorrow you're marketing, today you're staffing, you run. And then with the interns, that really helps a lot.
Yeah. How's that entrepreneur journey been for you? Were you somebody that, you started businesses often, or was this really your first business, 15, 16 months ago when you started?
No, I've been a DJ disc jockey for 25 years. I've been doing weddings and bigger events, and then a photo booth business too. And I've always been doing that on the side. I enjoy it.
You've been a closet entrepreneur. Okay.
Yeah, because I was really good at with the clients with sales. You didn't have social media. I don't use social media for that because I don't need it.
Right.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Right.
So this just turned into that obsession. And I know when we talk about why I transferred over, has it been easy? No. There's been times to where, it's been a year and a half now. There's been times where I just wanted to toss it and, give it up and kick myself. But then I get up, and sometimes when I talk to people, and it gives me the reason why you want to help them find a job. And right now it's changing back. It's finally making a little bit of a profit.
Yeah. Well, it's really not, I've started a bunch of businesses. It's never really about the profit. It's really about finding the ability to be successful. And successful is measured in a lot of different ways. As an entrepreneur, sometimes just getting an idea across the board to a new customer or candidate, that's success in many ways. But surviving alone is actually, so I challenge you to say, you've been successful for the past year in the fact that you didn't go back to your job. And so I give you big props. This has been, outside of 2009, 8 maybe, this has been the hardest year to start a business, and you're still within that 12-month kind of range of starting. And so, if you can survive this, you can thrive, in the years to come.
And you've even said that, and I told you about that, because my biggest question was to my colleagues was, what is my value? What is my value? I struggled with that. Yeah. Why am I valuable? What do I do differently for you? What makes me valuable? And Matt, it took me maybe to about 2 months ago to where all the learning, like you said, learning everything about from even in depth of a P&L, like you have a P&L, but when you're by yourself, it's just a miniature P&L.
Yep.
But when I look at that, it was worth it. The learning part of it, that's what I loved, and
it never stops. 10 years from now, you'll still own your business and you'll still learn every day. I promise you.
Yeah. And like you said, if I make it through this, there's been times I know with COVID coming, but you know what? I am prepared. I am so prepared now to take that candidate from A all the way to that job with the videos that I want to be able to, and we'll get into it also, I know about the client's videos, integrating, onboarding, everything, to where you don't have to worry about your recruiters seeing the person. You don't have to do job fairs, car through, drive your car. You don't have to do none of that anymore. But it's this, and it's trying to get people in front of that computer to look at the social media behind the scenes, to look at the video resume screening, to look at the EORs virtual, because if you had your business, if I had yours EOR, if I had USA Staffing when I was at my former company, we could have been so successful, because I look at that now, you would have gave all those recruiters more time to find people.
Right. Yeah. We help with kind of the logistical operational support.
Yeah. So that would have helped our customers find people, because a recruiter wouldn't have to worry about following up, payroll errors on, they took care of it all.
Yeah, especially for full desk recruiters. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And this here with all the video resume screening and all this other newer technology is just, you got to try it. You cannot lose. Once you get it, I smile every time about it, because it's just now fine tuning it and getting everything right in place to where a process to where you could just run it smoothly. As long as you educate the client, they have to be aboard with it.
What are your thoughts? I mean, I know you're kind of getting into the deep end of the virtual component. Really, it's a streamlined, efficient process that you're putting together. And really that goes hand in hand with the human capital management aspect for your customer, which we can get into. But do you think that it's here for good? Do you think 5 years from now, people are still going to be virtual in terms of onboarding? Or do you think that there's going to be eventually a time where people do a mix, 50, you can choose. Do you want to do your onboarding, online, or do you want to come in and do it? Where do you think, where are your heads at?
I would say this was good because we talked about it with the mailing, reading the mail and everything is pre-COVID, you still need a little bit of grassroots. You got to have that grassroots somewhat because a lot of the companies now you can't even go to. You can't get into it.
And that will go away eventually. That will go away eventually, though.
Oh, yeah, but I don't think this is going to be the new norm. I really predict that companies are going to see how much value that they can save, the cost savings. And a lot of the recruiters are going to still be working from home like myself, out of the home office and working because I don't know why you would want to go back. It didn't work now. It didn't work last year. It didn't work 2 years ago, the way things are now, because everybody's struggling to find people.
Right. So, well, unemployment rate was 2% too. So
yeah, but I don't blame. I put the blame on people a lot because they don't want, some of them aren't incentivized to find the people. And some people, they don't produce. They're not following up. And with utilizing all the virtual, real quick, I found, and I'm still breathing about it, with a video screening, I trusted a person. I did 2 direct hires. I kept sending people. No, they didn't like them. Okay. I was doing yesterday when I was at Moore's and showing them that person never sent that candidate's video to the client. He can tell me all he wants, that person, but with technology, you never sent that. So if those people got hired, I didn't know about it.
Right.
But
there's an accountability. Yeah, accountability for the team. I think that comes with the idea that social media uncovers a person that's actually there. It doesn't form new people. It doesn't, give a wrong impression. It actually probably gives a correct impression. I think that's where technology can play a role in not only the video screening technology, but also the accountability for the account managers, the recruiters, the HR professionals. I do think that there was a lot of fat to be trimmed on the process. Right. And I think that there were people in bigger corporations, especially, that complain that there were no talent, but then they weren't looking at the dozens and dozens of candidates that were being submitted to them. All they had to do was delete the email or remove the candidate from the database, and then boom, there's no candidates anymore. And so, that combined with blockchain, I think what we're heading into is the next decade is going to be about accountability, and accountability in your personal life, also in your business life, in your professional life, but accountability for businesses. I think that there's, a vice president of HR in a larger company has multiple HR professionals, which have multiple recruiters. And there's got to be an accountability within that organization to the shareholders, to the stakeholders, to the stock owner. There's got to be accountability. And so if there's too much fluff because people just aren't working, I think there's a lot of opportunity to cut through and really not only make the organization more profitable, but maybe reduce their costs, maybe reduce their pricing, maybe, have more affordable offerings. And so I think I don't think there's an end. I mean, as long as you can start brainstorming where you can utilize efficiencies, it starts with recruiting the candidate and sourcing, but then where does it end? No,
because I had a client I went and toured, and he literally said to me, he said, well, I don't care what that's your problem. So I said right back to him, I was like, no, that's our problem, because that's what's wrong, because it takes two. The client, you have to educate. We said that, but it's not my problem. It's yours too, because if you have 6 agencies and you're not producing, it's the same thing. You have to show accountability also. What are you providing to us and we're providing to you? And a lot of that has changed because they don't talk. Companies don't talk with the staffing. And, I'm guilty for that, my prior companies sometimes. Customer service right now, to me, I understand more customer service now than I ever did. And
your name's on it now,
It is. It goes a long, long way.
Yeah.
So that's where I've learned another thing of that customer service and returning calls, messages, getting back with people, having the discussions with them. No, you didn't get the job because you don't want to call the person. You ghost. I've been successful with that by just being honest. And I'm not saying I wasn't, but just have that conversation.
Right. No, I think it's very simple, and that's where you can have a video conference call on FaceTime or Zoom or whatever whatever your choice is. But again, it's the efficiency and it's the accountability.
That's it. So. You get that, and you're going to be good to go. And a little bit of grassroots, you still need it. Like I said, you got to have some of that, and because like we talked before, the pizza box coverings, mail. I'm reading my mail now. I never did before, but it's reaction. So, you still need that creativity. You have to.
What other, I know you talked a lot about the interviews and the video interviewing, strategies, but are there any other efficiencies that you've kind of started to use over the past 6 months that you think might continue to add value?
Yeah. What I've been using, I tell everybody in high volume, even in, texting, is between text us, constant contact, or email campaigns, and posting jobs that you have, not that you don't have. I find a lot, like I asked CareerBuilder, can I post a job that I don't have? And they're like, what? I said, I want to post a job for customer service. I need customer service reps. What a job description is. A mid-range, and I put a nice thing in there saying, my Dave Wilson from Results Staffing, I need your help. I'm trying to find customer service reps to put with companies. And you should have seen how many people applied for no job. And I took that. So now I have them to build and go after the clients, say, listen, I have a perfect candidate for you right here. But they were so intrigued, like, what do you mean? Oh, no, I don't have the job. It was kind of like the old headhunter in a way. I hate that name, but it was headhunter. But stuff like that, the text us is a big success for me because the jobs just come in for the referrals. It's running right now. I pay $5 a day for different things running on social media constantly, and it just brings it right to my phone.
Nice. That's great.
It is, and it works.
How's your website been? I know we're going to look at your website in a little bit, but you launched your website this year. Was there anything that you modified or?
Oh my God. Yeah, I think I started out with the builder. It was amazing, what you thought. You put your heart into it. Then you realize you got to start spending some money to get to my vision, because nobody understood my vision was everything just virtual. You have that's my team. Everybody's virtual. So then when I did a deep dive with it, I wanted something like, for example, on here with the jobs for the video screening. So everybody always complains about the hiring process, resumes and all that. On here, you just click on jobs, and these are the jobs that I have, and they could be a direct hire jobs too. It all matters. And all they have to do is upload the resume, cell phone number, and name. That's it. It's over. You don't have to go to somebody else's website and do all that.
Right.
So that was a big experience right here. Right there it is. Warehouse associate. They click on it, and all they do, I needed a recruiter. They just click on it, upload it, and it comes right to my dashboard. That's it. So for payrolling, I don't have to worry about kind of putting everybody and asking them all their personal information, because unless I'm going to utilize them, why?
Right.
So that's been a real big success. The next part was the journal I started was I wanted to start putting my struggles, my success stories and what I've been going through. Some of the stuff on there, It shows about cost. I wish I would have found a better solution, and money. And right there is about how I was nervous and just my own notes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just blogging.
Yeah, just blogging on there. And then they came along with the request, and the employee worked out well for me now. The media, this is a really cool function for everybody. But under the media, which is nice, if somebody wants to be a guest on my show, we do Ring of Fire for free on Fridays, they can go ahead and hear staffing. Then they scroll down, they click there, and they can fill out their application to be on our show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if you scroll down more, there's all our social media, all of it, videos, all of it. By putting them in all on there, and that head thing on my head was there. I fell off a cliff. That's a long story, but that's but they see you. They get to know me.
Right.
So it's been a year process, and I'm still changing things every day because I need to be different. That will change. I don't care. In 3 to 4 months, I got to change something, because you go on some people's websites, it's the same thing. So everybody tells me, no, that doesn't sound right. Why do you want to do that? Because I want to. And I stopped listening to everybody that says no. So
you got to. Yeah,
but it's a struggle. I think you need help. You need guidance. And all I can say is, wow, I spent some money and just learned the whole process. I wish I would have went with a company right off the bat and just said, do it for me. But I learned so much through the whole process.
Right.
What does a candidate want? What does a picture mean? What does an image mean? How did that show up? Because I did in Google My Business too. I paid for all that. And every month we meet and we have a meeting on that, and uploading my jobs on there, doing all my update. If I want to say something, I'll Google My Business and hit those reviews. I didn't realize I was supposed to reply to all the reviews. But you know what? I didn't do it. But when you have people virtual team, they're behind me telling me how to do it.
Yeah, that's good. So what do you think, where are you headed in terms of Q1 for 2021? Any goals that you have, or any kind of things that you're working on right now for the start of the new year?
Yeah, the start of the new year is I want to be able to get more into the professional services and utilizing, I should say like this, in January, I want a career builder. My job boards will be gone. I don't want to pay for that's in the vision. I want to be able to promote my website, put the money invest in there for people to kind of just like the job board, promote it, utilize that money for that. Skill market, get the candidates to really get into the video screening and testing and help them with the resumes, and skill marketing like we did today for a pharmaceutical company. We're trying to find a young lady a job. Mm-hmm. Perfect fit. Trying to get past that gatekeeper tighter.
Right.
With all the interns that I get free from McCain, they work 40 hours a week. I love it, but I got to pay a lot of lunches. But teaching them to do all the social media, they do all on all 7 platforms. Like they're even put me on Pinterest. I'm like, what? For staffing? I said, you know what, Leilana, if you want to do it, next week she's coming. She's going to have me on there.
Nice.
So my goal is to reach out to all platforms now and to make it more where referral fee, but also I want to get into the contract to permanent. And that's, yourself, that's a little bit different because I need to be able to compete. Some excuses of the companies, well, we pay this. And I'm like, well, I can't do it.
Right.
And they're shocked.
Yeah, a lot of people are using the conversion scales, 30, 60, 90, maybe even 6 months or 9 months to really, really make that money in terms of either duration or a conversion at the end of their assignments.
And I just want everything to run itself. I want a part-time person, which she came over today. If she's going to work. And I think that's all I need, because with everything all together from point A, start to finish, it should all run itself. So I got to make sure everything is running, and as all three desks, everything is just running smoothly, and it can be done.
Yeah.
I just I have to make a living. I mean, I have to have a life sooner or later after this whole year. You even said to me, you said, Dave, this is just the beginning.
It's a long journey, but I'm so happy to hear that you've been able to get up and running, and it sounds like you've just had so many great lessons, and you continue to look around the corner, which I think is the key to any entrepreneur, especially in staff and recruiting. And I think you're starting that process of that human capital management. I want to encourage you to keep doing it. I think anybody who has the skills, experience, or mindset like yourself, you can go into customers, help them understand a new perspective in terms of their own human capital management. Who should they bring on perm? Who should they bring on temporary? And combine it together to say, this will save you money because of X, Y, and Z, or this will help you build your culture, X, Y, Z, and really be that consultant so that you can not only affect their overall growth, but also their day-to-day operations. And I think that's where you build the trust, you build the lifelong kind of relationships, but more importantly, then you get to help your candidates and your customers really find that perfect fit overall.
And it's really working that way. I told you about customer service. To me, I will not send you anybody that I don't want to really hire myself. I try to stick with that. Some of them don't, you can't guarantee, but like, listen, I don't just send the person because I want to. No, you have to get back to that one-on-one of really talking and listening to the client and your candidate.
Yep.
And see, and everybody's excuses right now, like real quick, and they'll be like, say a supervisor had been furloughed, he's been in a company, now he's applying for a lead position. Some of the companies will say he's not going to stay. And then I'm like to him, how do you know? You don't know because you don't know about his family. He was furloughed. He became a supervisor because he knows skills. So when he goes and starts at that company, I bet he's going to jump up 6-7 months. He's not going to want to stay. He's not going to bring you value. So I try to sell that. I've been battling against that right now because a lot of the clients are saying they're not going to stay. That's where I'm trying to figure out new ways to prove and sell. You have to sell that candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah.
It's different. So I have to I jump right back at him. I go no. He might need to work this because of his kids. Everything with COVID, we don't know their reason.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's going to be a very interesting rest of the year. And, we have the last couple weeks in December, and really I'm positive. I'm excited about 2021. I think, both on the direct hire and the permanent side, there's going to be some good news coming along, especially for the people who are, looking around the corner, trying to figure out the next step. And so I wish you all the best in your journey, and I look forward to hearing some updates in the future.
Oh, you will. It's different every day, and if they say no, I say yes.
All right.
So I appreciate so much for even having me on here. And
absolutely,
like I said, it's just a lot of learning and reading and reading.
Absolutely.
Nonstop.
Well, thank you for stopping by. Any last words before we end the show today?
Matt, I just want to tell the clients and the candidates, to learn from each other. Listen to the candidates what they want, but yet the clients have to listen to the candidates also. It's okay to change. It's okay to change a process. Make that change. Try it out for 2 to 3 weeks. Come back to it. Visit it. Listen to somebody that has an idea, but listen to it really good. Just think about it. Maybe implement it. And if it doesn't work, go back. So I think whoever's going to be in 2021 is really who's learned from what they've learned now. Because I know what I'm going to do different now. Because like you said, you told me in the beginning, if you make it through, listen, I've made it through the first COVID, starting a business 2 months before COVID. Oof. Now getting set up, now getting ready to, if it insurges again, what am I going to do differently? But I've learned so much. That I'm at that point. So that's where I'm looking forward to showing the success of it.
That's great. Showing the results.
That's it. So we want results at the end of the day. But no, just really think outside the box. I even hate that saying. I want to toss that out. But just listen and watch what other companies are doing.
Be a constant student. So
it is.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
All right, stay on a little bit. I'm going to close out the show. Well, you heard it from David Wilson, somebody who took that leap 2 months before COVID, has constantly been learning throughout this process, and now has a different vision for human capital management in general. Recruiting and staffing really can be a key component for Q1. One of the things that David really has been genius in utilizing is the technology to help with video interviews, not only for the candidates, but also, like he was mentioning, using it, turning it around on himself and sending it to his customers, which he talked about a little bit on the show today. And really just utilizing what you're paying for to the max of its ability. And that's how you not only make more interactions, you give a little bit more truth to yourself, but also you might be able to sneak away with a little bit more money. So this has been Discussions with Entrepreneurs. This is our staffing industry discussion. My name is Matt Klinsky. I appreciate you following us. Feel free to follow us on social media, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.